Welcome to the Grace Space, a transmission for the sovereign soul.
It's all within my heart. It's all within your heart. The truth is there, but it's so horrendous, that we're scared to connect to it. So the people that are asleep or waking up, they've stayed asleep because we've stayed asleep for so long, because it's quite an horrendous what's happened to us. But connecting up more light, we see more health, better health, and once they're seen, just like a trauma, once trauma is seen, it becomes disempowered. Yeah. So the trauma doesn't. So when we have a trauma that's unconscious in us, it's just running our life, and we start making mistakes and patterns happening, and attracting the wrong people in your life. And then you go back and look at self, and it's like, oh, it's from that trauma. I have to heal that trauma. And the trauma gets weaker. So it's not running unconsciously anymore. It's running consciously. And then the light bashes, it transforms it.
Hey everyone, real quick before we begin, if this content matters to you, you're warmly invited to subscribe to this channel, to like this video, to leave a comment, or all three. I read all the comments, and your engagement is really important because when you engage, it tells YouTube to push this content out to more people who would find value in it. Now that I understand this, I engage a lot more with the channels that are important to me because I know it really matters. Thanks for listening. Here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Grace Space. I am beyond honored to share my conversation with Rebecca Barron with you today. Now, Rebecca, you may or may not know who she is, but she's somebody I've been following with great interest for a while. I've really been deeply touched by the transmissions that she shares. Her story is one of early childhood trauma. Very difficult to take when you hear about it in its details. But again, I want to frame this for you, or rather invite you to consider that a lot of what Rebecca shares may resonate deeply with you. Some of it may challenge you. Some of it may be, entirely outside of your framework, and that is okay. What I think is so incredibly valuable is what Rebecca has become through her experiences, how deeply she has accessed her inner knowing. Her experiences did not break her. They maybe cracked her open so that she could access this deep inner knowing that we all possess. She does these incredible journeys where she goes into her own heart, and that heart as a portal to source, as a portal to the unified field where all knowledge, all wisdom, all information is accessible. So she is really an incredible being who has overcome the attempts at fracturing her heart, fracturing her, breaking her, separating her from her heart. All of the attempts that were made to do so failed. And she is an incredibly powerful being. So, again and again in this conversation, we return to themes that many of you know have become central to my own work, which is what happens when we stop outsourcing our authority. What happens when we really accept to stand in our natural authority, when we realize that we actually have that, when we recover from this, mind control psyop that we've been, all of us, under, which has, been designed to separate us from our own knowing, to think poorly of ourselves. What happens when the mind begins to serve the heart? Where this is something Rebecca talks about a lot, that the heart is the teacher and the mind is the student. That is how she learned, that was her own guidance. And I think it's extremely powerful teaching. So what happens when we stop relating to ourselves through fear, shame, or survival, and remember who we are underneath all of that? And that is something that we all have in common. If you're watching this, if you are into this channel, then that's you. So listen with your heart. Keep what resonates, leave what doesn't, as usual. Above all, stay curious. I know that this is going to touch you in your heart as it did me. Here's Rebecca Barron. Rebecca, it's such an honor to have you here. I'm so excited. Welcome to the Grace Space.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you
Oh,
very much.
uh, I've been I've been contemplating all the things that I would love to hear you talk about and ask you about. I don't think we'll have time for all of it because there's so much, but why don't we begin by you sharing your background, your experiences growing up, so that people can understand a bit more about you?
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, but the experiences were here. I didn't realize my growing up, the impact or what actually happened until I was a lot older. So I went through an awakening, which many people on the planet now are going through, many years ago in my late 20s. And with that awakening, what's actually happening is that you're connecting more with your light. So I started to connect more with myself and realized that there was two energies running in me. There was my heart energy and there was my mental energy. And my heart was realized my heart was the teacher. It was here to teach me about who I was, and my mental side had many perceptions of me that wasn't true. And so I had to start breaking that down. And when I really started to listen to my heart, first I became very much more emotional, because the heart runs through, emotions run through the heart as well as the mental side. But I started to become more aware of self, and I started to realize that my emotional life not necessarily was getting triggered, but it wasn't of the day, but from childhood. And when I started to realize that my reactions or how I was feeling was actually tracked back from childhood, I started to gain memories back. And within those very, very painful memories, were memories of being programmed as a child by the royal family. So I had a handler, a man that was close to my family, and he would. It was basically. I have many memories, being basically tortured, raped. They basically tried to split you from yourself. So, and in that process, um, meeting the Queen, traumatized by Prince Philip, Jimmy Savile, the names that you hear about, uh, priests from the Vatican, lots of trauma, and it's taken many many years for that to come through, because it doesn't just, oh, you remember, and it's quite horrific remembering, because it's not just like, oh, I remember that. It's like it's like I had to go through the whole experience again, mentally, emotionally, physically. It was like the whole experience of it coming out of my body. It was like going through the whole thing. But I started to piece together through the memories of what took place. So I was placed under a program that Queen Elizabeth was head of, and the royal family were there deciding what path, what program I would be placed upon. And then they traumatized me, and it's through those memories I started to learn enormously also about consciousness. I didn't just I started to wake up to my abilities. So I was able to connect more to myself. And I started to realize that my heart was connected to everything. So I could see, you know, see consciousness in a way that other people weren't able to see. And then I was like, well, everyone can do this. So I started to teach people how to connect to themselves, connect to their light. And my heart started to teach me lots and lots of things. How illnesses occur, why this world is the way it is, because it's been invaded by basically beings that are not human, although they look human, but they act very inhumane because they're not human. They don't have a heart and they get taken over. And unfortunately, first-hand experience with these beings, with these, which now we're all hearing about. That I wrote a book about it, that came out a few years back, a couple of years maybe ago. And although I've been talking about it for many years, it's kind of a subject now that's quite prevalent in the media with everything that's going on.
Yes, thank you for that introduction. And if I might ask a couple of questions here, because sometimes I hear the people's questions coming up in my mind. Um,
Yeah.
so, it's true that a lot more people are now becoming aware of how the world has been run.
Mhm.
And so I imagine one question that people have is like, how did you as a child become identified as one who would be part of these programs? Like, who was your family? How were they connected or were they connected to the royal family? How many other children were involved in programs like this?
Um, well, I don't know how many children are connected. Um, a lot of the trauma I went through, I was by myself. Although I have a memory going to a big manor house in Derbyshire. The handler I was in, me and the handler went, and I don't know, I must have been about six-ish, something like that. And as we walked through the big sort of foyer, the Queen was there, and we went up to the Queen, and she kind of scanned me. It's like she had like a laser eyes, and she literally scanned me, and then looked towards the handler and said, "She's there's something wrong with her heart," meaning my heart was still open. And and then after that, we the handler took me into this room, and it was full of children, but the children weren't like playing or jumping or talking or laughing or being children. They were just kind of standing there in a daze. And the handler asked me to pick somebody to stand with, which I did. I picked a little boy who was completely out of it. And he tied a red string around our wrists together, and we kind of like lined up, just waited. And then we were eventually escorted out. And by the time it's nighttime now, and a ritual was taking place. I just remember fire, but I remember the Queen being there. And so there was lots of children in this ritual. And I do remember the feeling of um, or a gratefulness that I wasn't going to die. I knew that they weren't going to kill me, but a child would be killed that night. Um, and then I also have a memory of being in a courtyard, a big courtyard. I don't know where I was. Can't say whereabouts in the UK I was, but I kind of woke up and there was just lines of children everywhere, and they were all like in this hypnotic state. And I woke up going, "Oh no, I shouldn't have woke up," kind of thing, and trying to pretend to be in a different state of consciousness. But that's all I know of having my memories. The rest of my memories are just me in the program room or at the BBC or Jimmy Savile's place or the handler's house. I know that um, the DNA, so they look for certain DNA that they can easily manipulate. So the beings that they're not human because they get taken over by certain beings, a reptilian being. And that those beings like certain DNA because they can merge easier with that DNA. So the human race has been sliced and diced. Our DNA has been sliced and diced with lots of ET DNA. And the reptilian obviously like their DNA. And because they can easily merge with it. So a lot of the people, like if you in the Epstein files and everything, they're not human. Their heart's gone, and a being they've been taken over. And so I assume I was selected because of my DNA. If I go back into it's probably horrendous. If I go back the generations, there's probably horrendous stuff that's happened within the DNA.
Hmm. So did your parents know what was happening to you when you were taken away? Were they in agreement with it? How did that work? Because I know that a lot of survivors, say that their parents sold them into programs, or that they were so chaotic that they couldn't be responsible, or they themselves were in programs. Do you
Yeah.
know what it was like in your family?
I know my family life was chaotic. It wasn't a healthy family. So, and I mean, me and my mum talk about it. She was not aware. There was no awareness of it. Obviously, aware of the handler. I used to, his little girl was my best friend. So I was around their house all the time. I went on holiday with them. Um, but yeah, my parents wasn't aware from my knowledge.
Right, okay.
Um,
So a lot of
but
people
we
don't realize.
were the attacked. Now I can look back and see the attacks we were under. Horrendous. The whole family was under attacks. And I know that because I went through going through it myself. Do you know what I mean? So when I woke up, my family started getting attacked, my children and myself. So yeah, it's been, and obviously I have to go through I've had to go through the emotions with my family because they should have protected me and
Right.
didn't. And if that was stupidity or just not being there, they couldn't look after. It was chaotic, the family life. Yeah.
Yeah. You use the word handler, and I think a lot of people are just starting to get their heads around that word. Like a handler can be somebody that who apparently looks trustworthy, or somebody that is close to the family, or someone who appears to be normal, appears to be, care about you, and actually they are also a handler.
Mm. Yeah, it was a respectable man in the village with a very good job, a very high powered job. You wouldn't think,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
And also, I had memories at the school as well. So it was other. I was being programmed at my local primary school. So
Right.
the head would have been the headmaster at the time. They knew, and it was someone young doing it as well. So it was like people knew in the village. So I couldn't have been the only child,
Right.
that was happening to in the village that I grew up in.
So then, okay, and I want to eventually connect this to the systems that run the world, because I think one thing that people have a hard time understanding, this is to hear what happens to children, to hear that it could be happening on such a large scale is so confronting to a lot of people that they just check out. They're like, I don't want to know, I can't handle it, right? But we need to
Mm-hmm.
handle it. We need to know, and we need to start processing this trauma, because it's a collective trauma. And so, how can, let's go back to the Queen and the royal family, for example, because I know when I was growing up, my perception was the queen is a little old lady who didn't want to be queen because her uncle abdicated, and then she ended up, being the one who had to take the throne, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you hear these stories about the royal family and who they really are. And how do you, for a person who has never been able to let in this idea that there are other forces running the world, have been for thousands of years running the world, how do you reconcile this image of the royal family, which is portrayed, and which was portrayed, and the truth of your experiences and the experiences of so many others?
Yeah. Well, I think they're showing themselves. I think Prince Andrew is doing the round, isn't he? And
Yeah.
it's like it slowly it just comes out, and I think the testimonies that are being said um, will is kind of exposing the myth, breaking down the illusion. We've lived in an illusion, an
Yeah.
inauthentic world. And part of that is because we've been inauthentic with ourselves. We haven't been true to ourselves. We've conformed to what society wants, and probably more from the DNA there rather than who we actually are. So the more we get true to ourselves, the more we see the lie around us as well. We will see it. So it's I think what I've learned about reality is that you the more true to yourself, the more you're honest with yourself and you see your own truth, then you start to see the truth of reality. And so you don't have to force it as such, like outside of you. You can just concentrate on you, and what comes will come. That's supposed to, will wake you up, kind of thing. You'll see it.
Well,
Uh,
that I can totally attest to that personally. I mean, when I finally got totally clean with myself and stopped lying to myself about certain things and set things straight in my life with the people who were close to me that were involved, when I finally cleaned house in my own life, that's when my major awakenings began. And I didn't ask for it. It just like the scales fell from my eyes and I could see through things that I had never seen through before. So that was when I realized, oh my goodness, I was not allowed, I couldn't see because I was in my own obfuscation, not wanting to tell myself the truth about the hardest things, right?
mm,
Once I started doing that, then I could see what was going on in the world, even though I'd been doing spiritual work for years. I mean, I was in it, deep in it for years. I couldn't
mm,
actually, I think there's two parts of it. There's the stuff that you get right with yourself. It takes time. It takes whatever the time that it takes. And then it's like looking out and seeing reality in the world because they're
mm,
both connected to each
yeah.
other, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We create reality. So we are the creators of the reality. So we have to understand why we're creating what we're creating. And if we want an authentic reality, it's true, where we can live safely and securely, then it's our own relationship with self. So, and the more in tune you become with your own light and your own heart, well, that brings light through your eyes. You're able to see through the yucky
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. It brings light through your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Great.
literally the feeling that I had.
Mm.
So then, okay, let's come back to I think some people are starting to realize now, with more information coming out via the Epstein files and other sources as well, that there has been a funding mechanism worldwide for these bad actors to perpetuate eons of control. And it has involved children and it has involved ritual and sacrifice and all kinds of things that are unimaginable for people who've never considered it before. And we're having to wake up to this reality. So I would love to hear you draw the parallels between what you experienced as a child and what you understood about, this system, and then like pull out the lens again, because we can't understand that system if we don't understand our past and our history and what has been kept from us, and
Mm.
how our planet and because this is not just our planet, right? This is exoplanetary. It has to do with the cosmos and with other beings uh, off planet, beyond Earth. It is such a big thing to try to get your mind around. You have to really zoom out the lens so big to start to understand, well, then why things are happening on Earth the way that they are. And I think you've been a key person for me in helping to clarify the system, why we've been in this system.
Um, Story, long time ago, long time ago. The planet that we're on, we're all reflections of what's happened to this planet, and this planet is light, just like us. We are, and we are connected to the planet through our DNA, and but there are realities around us that don't have that source of energy. They don't have that connection. So they're parasitic in nature. They lost connection with their heart, and our heart is what keeps our body alive. It keeps the planet alive. It's who we actually are. It's the light. But what these beings outside of this reality decided to ignore their light, to go ego, to go technology, just basically what they're doing on the planet now, and what the elite are. They're literally heartless. They've got no light. But if you go against yourself time and time and time again, you disempower your heart, you're not listening to your heart, well, your heart will eventually, and if you're doing things that is completely against your heart's not going to support. So anyway, the beings outside, and they were like giants. Giant stories on the planet. I think giants being here, and they wanted to be like us. They wanted the light that we had and couldn't. And this is where, so they started to parasite. And how they parasited, well, first they brought aliens down. So you've got the Egyptians and everything like that, but people rebelled against them. And but with the ETs coming here, it created a trauma on the planet. So the planet itself, just like if you get frightened, if I get frightened, you go in on yourself, you get scared. So the light dims within the body, and you've got less to decode of yourself, and then you rely more on on the outside world. So the aliens came here, and they started to create slavery. Like, if you don't worship us, we're going to kill you. And this started with the Egyptians. Then there was, from what I can understand, with remote views, there was an overturn because the Egyptians looked different. So they realized, okay, well, we want all the source, we want Earth, and we want the light from Earth, because that is a life force for them. And we want the brain, we want their mental side as well, because that creates physical reality, because the masculine, the mental brain creates the physical reality. Our heart is what keeps it alive. So we became like batteries for them. And then they were like, well, they need to be here on Earth. How can we take Earth over without them seeing? So they took our DNA and they created a being from our DNA and from technology, which is called the reptilian race. And there's lots of different types. And then they needed to create a huge amount of trauma in us. So, well, so trauma's happened, and then it's easy access in. So a trauma creates areas in our mind that has less light, and then they can get in, and they take over being. So if you look at, when I look at certain people around the world, politicians to famous people to lots of things that are going on, I see the human part, I see the body, the vessel, but there's a being in that, and people, well, it's human. Well, it's not human, and this is why they act so inhumane, because they're not human, just like the royal family. They're not. They don't act humane. I mean, eating babies, killing baby, all these sort of things is inhumane. And although they have a human body, but that's why they've got away with it for as long as they have, because they look human. And so people haven't been able to see it. And also, because I think we haven't seen ourselves, because the truth, when I go and gain my memories back, or have gained my memories back, or do remote views to understand reality more, it's all within my heart, it's all within your heart. It's the truth is there, but it's so horrendous that we're scared to connect to it. So the people that are asleep or waking up, they've stayed asleep because we've stayed asleep for so long, because it's quite an horrendous what's happened to us. But connecting up more light, we see more health, better health. And once they're seen, just like a trauma, once trauma is seen, it becomes disempowered. Yeah. So the trauma doesn't, so when we have a trauma that's unconscious in us, it's just running our life, and we start making mistakes and patterns happening, and, attracting the wrong people in your life. And then you go back and look at self, and it's like, oh, it's from that trauma. I have to heal that trauma. And the trauma gets weaker. So it's not running unconsciously anymore. It's running consciously. And then the light bashes, it transforms it. Like, this is not, I'm going to love myself or do what's best for me, all these sort of things. And that's what I see on a big scale. We're seeing the traumas, massive traumas that have happened, but we're only seeing it because the light has come in, and we're seeing the horrendous stuff that's happened. So although it's been going on for a long time, the reason we're seeing it, it's like when trauma comes through the body, I don't know, you've done a lot of healing, but it literally leaves the body. You feel it leaving. It's horrendous. Yeah. And that's what I see with Earth. So although there's a lot of horrendous things that we're seeing, it's because it's leaving, and the Earth is healing and becoming empowered. Because what this did was it disempowered our heart. So it disempowered the human race. They disempowered Earth, and they created a more dominant reality. So our mental minds have become more dominant, more safeguarding to us, more controlling, because we become scared of life because there's so much trauma there. So we shut off our light because we were so scared. So when someone's scared, the heart kind of backs back down into the body, like disappears, detaches from the body, and the mind has to take over. So it's kind of like the more light comes in to wash away the trauma, and that's what's happening on Earth. We're washing away the trauma with who we actually are, the light beings that we are. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's thank you for your perspective on that. It totally jives with everything that I've been feeling, and I just express it in my way. But like the way I see it is that, yeah, I mean, it's like turning on the light in a room that's been very dimly lit for a long time, and you see all of the horrors in the corners because it hasn't been cleaned, and you go, ah, it's awful. You don't want to deal with it, but that room has got to get cleaned out. You've got to get all the dead bugs out, all of the spider webs, all of the stains and the weird stuff, and it's been there. We just couldn't see it because the light was much dimmer. And the
Yeah.
other thing that has happened in this process, which I think, I keep pointing out over and over again, is that we human beings have been taught to despise ourselves and despise our nature. And we've been told that we're inferior and sinful and all the ways that, we could be manipulated to be more controllable. We have a very poor view of ourselves, who we are, what our potential is. And, lots of people are just really down on the human race and blaming the human race for everything that's wrong on this planet. Whereas, the thing is, we've been put into this position and taught to hate ourselves and taught to believe that we're at the root of all the problems. Like it's your fault that the planet is polluted, global warming, there's too many of you, you're always fighting each other. They've programmed us to think, oh, well, we must be the problem. This is, like children who believe that, it's their fault when bad things happen or their parents split up or whatever. And so we have to rehabilitate our own self-image and understand that, like, what a true human being is, humane, right? Like you were saying, that's what I feel, is that our original nature is very beautiful and harmonious and in harmony with the planet and each other, and and we've completely forgotten that.
Yeah. It's I see us as very, very calm beings, very, very calm and gentle and nurturing, and part of the healing is to get back to that, so we're not in survival. Or but yeah, there's definitely been infiltration, if it's through the news, but the big one is religion. Religion really separates the heart and the mind, because it really doesn't represent anything of the light beings that we are. It creates a hierarchy, and then reason religion with, it's like the masculine is always the God kind of thing, because we've got two energies. So the mental side is the masculine side, and then we've got the left side of the brain, which is the feminine side. So they escalate the masculine side because in the masculine, in the DNA, is our ancestry, and they want to keep that in place, and they want that far more dominant over the heart. And this is why they want people to pray or worship the masculine, hence a god outside of yourself, because what it does, it disempowers the heart of people and then puts the masculine energy on a pedestal. So it's a very clever way of, and also if you're worshipping, you are worshipping a masculine, a god outside of yourself. You're placing your DNA up on a pedestal where your heart is worshipping that. And really, we should be not worshipping, but loving the heart, because that's where the intelligence is. That's who we actually are, the heart intelligence. And the mind should be, the masculine should be then transformed to who we actually are. So we represent who we are. But religion, it gets us to actually stay the same and basically stop or slow down the evolution as much as possible. So religion is horrendous, any religion.
It's
What it's
been
done.
one of the biggest psyop mind controls on the whole planet, and every religion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's that's
Yeah,
hard for a lot of people to hear. But
yeah.
we have to be able to separate what our spirituality is from any religion. And I think
Yeah.
that's go
Where
ahead.
it's going, because what religion does also, it keeps us in a childlike place. So it's like somebody's more powerful than us, which stops us taking a responsibility for life, what we're creating. It stops us understanding that we're creating everything that's going on in our lives. And if we don't realize we're creating it, then we don't realize we have the power to change it. It's just someone else will sort it out. So it keeps us very childlike. So although this is very confronting, it's actually very freeing. But people are scared and maybe a bit scared of taking responsibility, because that is a process in itself. It's like, oh, I've got to take responsibility for everything in my life. Well, yeah, you do, because they're lessons. And once we start to see life as lesson, then it's like, oh, what am I learning from this? Rather than, oh, I feel victimized by life. There's a learning that takes place. And so everything is beneficial some way. It's like finding the golden nugget and what you're learning. And then you realize, oh, actually, I needed to learn this. This is something that, if it's a fear or insecurity that needed to overcome. So although it can be confronting, because it is, because that inner child in you that hasn't fully formed into an adult yet, because when we're children and there's a trauma, the consciousness, because there's rays of energy, right, flowing through us. So that the little child that's not grown up yet, it's just so scared. It's like, I just want a mummy and daddy still. Yeah. So it's looking outside. If that's the government, and look, we've put the trust in the government, find out they're all horrendous, hellish beings. Yeah. Or looks outside of ourselves. I don't know about you, Claire, but on my path, every time place my energy outside of myself and rely on something, it bites me in the ass, because it's not the person that I'm angry with that has let me down, because it's leading me to trust myself, believe in myself. It's like, I can't, do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm holding on to somebody too long, I'm gonna fall, because I'm meant to fall, because we're here to become empowered. We're here to trust ourselves, believe in ourselves. So although it's kind of scary letting go of mummy and daddy's hand, if that is the government or a religion or a spiritual person, a guru or whatever, it's going to happen, because you want to feel safe within yourself, and safety is that empowerment. So it may be hard to hear, but we want freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom comes with responsibility. We can't be free while holding someone's hand and going, oh, they're going to look after me. That's not going to happen. So if you want to be free, we have to accept that, well, freedom is responsibility, and it is learning that, hey, I am the creator of my reality. Oh yeah, I mean, it's we can't want one thing and leave, can't just have religion and still want freedom. It's not going to happen.
Exactly. And as you were speaking, I had this memory from childhood, that moment where I was learning to ride a bike and I
Yeah.
felt the hands leave the back of the seat, because my mom or somebody was helping me, because you're like wobbly and trying to learn how to balance, right? And then that moment where suddenly I remember flying. I like, whew, I'm free. And it was exactly that feeling like, I can do it. I'm independent, and then you're going everywhere on your bike, right? It's that moment of realizing that you are autonomous, that you do have the solutions inside yourself, that your heart does have all the answers, that everything is coming out of here, actually. All of your wealth, all of your creativity, all of your genius, all of your beauty, your higher gifts and everything is like coming out like a fountain, out of your heart. I mean,
Yeah.
then it's like game over. You don't buy the other stuff anymore. I mean, it still has a certain reality, but it doesn't have power over you anymore, because no matter how awful and ugly and terrifying and heartbreaking and all of that stuff that's coming out, the truth of how the world has been run and why is utterly heartbreaking, and it should be for any normal human being. There has to be
Mm.
that period of mourning and like, oh my God, yeah, really? This is really what it's been, you know? There has to be that. And yet, at the same time, my experience and my feeling is that the heart overcomes all of that. I mean, there is nothing that can stamp out that light completely. And when it starts to shine and you start to let it out, you hold everything in that balance. You know, you can hold the worst things in the world because we contain it all anyway, don't we? I mean,
Mm.
it's
And also, I think before we come here, we know what we're being born into. Yeah. So when I look at if it's the coming in or leaving, we kind of know the DNA has been screwed up. This world is a mess. You know, it's been a mess, and it's like, okay, well, we still come because we believe, yeah, because we know the power of the heart. We know the power of light and how it can transform the DNA, and that means transforming the physical world, and that we can do it. And it's just when we get in, we start to believe the DNA. And like, oh, you're not powerful. Oh no, you're small. You're insignificant. And then that's what we've got to unlearn. We're not small. We're not insignificant. They wouldn't work so hard. They work a lot to keep us mind controlled. You know,
exactly.
yeah. If we were small and insignificant, it'd be a breeze. You know, we wouldn't. They wouldn't, because they work a lot. They work very hard.
So I feel like this whole matrix is for us, actually. It's to contain who we are.
What do you mean? What,
Like,
contain the light?
yeah, you know, everything, all the control systems, everything that we live inside, this whole elaborate matrix that has been built to, it's for us. It's been built to contain and to suppress who we are.
Yeah, yeah. All the systems. If you look at, you imagine like everyone becoming independent and free, and that's where we're heading. That's why people are waking up, because the Earth woke up and we're following the planet. So the Earth is like, I've had enough. And then we're like, Mum has woken up. Okay, so people start waking up. The frequencies are changing. We follow the energy of the planet, and then the systems that we have had in our mental brain to keep us suppressed are also breaking down through the healing.
Mm.
So that is also a representation of the systems on the outside of us. So to keep us small, keep it, you know, if you look, if it's the government, it's the educational, all these systems is to keep us in childlike state, to not grow up. And I said that's breaking down individually. And when you heal, you break down the systems, the protections, and then obviously that's on the outside. Yeah. So it's
And you,
exciting times, like really
yeah,
exciting.
yeah,
It is. Because you're
yeah.
seeing, we've been talking like, what, years? And it's like, now we're like seeing it, like the actual horror. I mean, I think I did a celebrity YouTube video probably like 8 years ago. And I was saying about everything that was going on in Hollywood and stuff. And you know, and people, oh, you're crazy. And a lot of people followed me, like people followed me and listened. But now it's like, well, it's all there to be seen now. Do you know what I mean? Because and that I was, you know, I was seeing that this was going to happen. That, and do you know what else? So all the yucky stuff, obviously, that's going to come to light. And what I see is that our brains have been compartmentalized. So because it hasn't had full light, it's had to have an understanding of what reality is. So belief structures, and that's not really true to ourselves. And our mind and our reality is being compartmentalized. So we live in a reality, but it's lots of different realities within it. So you've got the awakened reality, or the sleep reality, or the elite reality. You've got, you know, there's lots of different realities, and we all kind of, we stay together. I don't know you, but mostly I attract people that are awake. You know, I mean, I've got my family, but you attract people on the same frequency level. So what I see happening is that compartmentalization that is within us is breaking down, where the mind reflects the light of us. That means what's happening on Earth also is that the compartmentalization is breaking down. There's not going to be different sections of reality. There will be one reality that represents the light, which is really exciting. So that means everyone's going to wake up and everybody's going to, yeah. So everyone's, and I feel what I see is like life is about learning about who we are. Because once we've done with the traumas and breaking down all the protections we've had, you start to, oh my God, we're beings of light, that great physical world. And then once all that trauma is done, then the fun stuff becomes, you know, it's like, oh God, it's not just our life. Oh, we've had many, many lives. We've had many experiences. We've had, you know, I probably look Claire, and we've probably met before because when I met you, I was like, I know this lady, you know,
How I felt when I heard you speak. It's like, I got her.
yeah. So it's so much beauty to come. Like people don't need to be frightened of it. We're just getting rid of the yucky stuff. But the
Mm.
beauty is to make way for the beauty. So like when you heal a trauma, you have to break down all the protection, you know, and that could be being really busy or drugs or alcohol or all the yucky stuff to keep you away from your heart, from your emotions. But when you break that down, that coping mechanism, and face that pain, the pain comes out and then the light comes with it. And the
Mm.
light is vitality, it's joy, it's happy, it's so although it's a transitional time, we're going through that transitional time because there's so much light that's to come. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
going to be all yucky for
Oh,
very.
that's so, thank you so much for saying that, because that's another thing that I think is slowing things down is that people are afraid. And I think we have this ancestral memory of other cataclysms and other the ends of cycles where things didn't, open up the way that they're going to. And we
Mhm.
have this, this feeling like, oh, the other shoe's going to drop. This is it. This is the end,
Mhm.
and so there's this fear and avoidance and wanting to like not know it and still be asleep and all of that.
Mhm.
It's that's because we have that memory, I guess you would say, in our DNA, right? That's the
Yeah.
DNA that's like, yeah, yeah, I
Mhm.
remember all the other times, doom, 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 be very afraid, right? That's also going on in people. And I'd love to hear you talk more about DNA because, like, DNA, I mean, okay. So George Kavasilis says he's. Do you know who George is? He's a teacher and a, well, I don't know how to describe George. He's just George, but he says I'm here. He's Australian. I'm not going to do a bad Australian accent. Forget that. Cut, cancel. He says I'm here. I don't know about you, but I'm here to transcend DNA altogether.
Mhm.
And I've always been very
Storm it.
intrigued by what he means by that. In other words, that the two strands. Some people talk about going back to 12 strands, awakening the old DNA and stuff like that. And he says, well, actually, those strands are gonna merge, and we'll just transcend it all together. We don't need that. That's like a totally new idea. What's your take on
But
DNA?
our light transforms the DNA. So the more, so what I see is like the mental side, the physical side of life is the DNA and the light. So your mum and dad got together, created a baby. You're the body's in the belly, and your light from her comes in, so comes and joins the body. So your light and your DNA is separate. Your light can live with outside of your DNA. Your DNA needs the light in order to survive. Our light, who we actually are, is here to transform, because obviously the DNA doesn't just holds frequencies of our parents, all your ancestry is in your DNA. The whole physical reality, the multi-universe is in the DNA. That everything's within the DNA. And we've come here to transform the frequencies, especially the alien frequencies that go against the human race, because they've created that the mind goes against the heart, abuse victim mindset to keep so we're programmed, or have been through many generations, and for the mind to be dominant and abusive towards the light, towards the feminine. Yeah. So we're here to actually become where the feminine becomes empowered. And so the women on this planet become empowered, respected, and the man, the masculine, we're just a reflections of that. The masculine side becomes the learner. It learns the feminine, learns who we are, because we come into bodies that tell us who we are. Like, you're this, you're small, you're insignificant, and it can't destroy the DNA. we can transform the DNA, and the heart becomes empowered and goes, no, I'm not this, I'm this. And that means the mind has to listen to self, the mind has to listen to the light. And this is where truth comes in. We have to be truthful, because the truth will always link us to our heart, the truth of
Yeah.
things, you see.
Yeah. So we've internalized the abuser. I just did a podcast on this recently, how we've internalized those systems within ourselves, and we have been abused, and so we internalize the abuser within ourselves, and the mind abuses the heart, suppresses who we really are.
Yeah. Most people struggle with areas of their brain with their abuse of self. And then, if you look at reality, the abuse of self then creates a reflection of abusive relationships, and it's mainly the man abusing the woman. Not in every case, but it's because the mental side of us, you have a woman, if she's got a man that's abusing her, she'll have a mental side abusing her, and she allows that abuse in, because we've normalized abuse. We get born into abuse, and so the abuse goes down, and then it's our journey to actually find that love for ourselves and our self-worth and our self-value and all that, to then to get the mind and the heart balanced with each other, where the masculine, like, is supporting the heart, loving the heart, and the heart is not scared. You can come into the body and experience the body, be free within the body.
That is so beautiful. That is so true. I can feel it right now. I mean, this is like I felt it started happening in myself when my mind suddenly became an ally, and it was like, let's go into the heart, right? It wants to honor the heart now. I mean, not always. There's times when I get lost, but
Yeah.
I've noticed that more and more, if I start to feel anxious or like uncomfortable or whatever is going on, the mind is starting to defer to the heart now, right? And so it's actually coming into its rightful place.
Yeah.
And then the heart can step out. And it reminds me of just something else George said. He said, this planet is feminine, this planet is a woman. And, in the future, leadership is going to be feminine, and the men are going to have to step back and listen and learn from the women. And I know he's not just talking about men and women, gender, he's talking about the masculine and the feminine and the mind and the heart. It makes total sense.
Yeah. Because the heart is us, it's the earth, it's who we are, it's the human race. So the heart has to become empowered, and then when the heart's empowered, it overturns the heart, frequencies in the mind that's not meant to be there. So yeah, it will become an empowered planet, and then we will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to go back into history a little bit, this is something that really intrigues me because that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you had a big dream, but you can't quite remember it, and you're like, it's just on the edge, but you can't quite remember the details. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I kind of feel about history right now, and I'm just realizing, oh, we've been reset a bunch of times in somehow we've been wiped, our memory has been wiped of the long history of humanity on this planet and what has happened over many long cycles of time, eons and eons of time. And that is one way that we've been disempowered, I guess, because we don't have context. We don't understand what came before and what it has to do with what's happening now. When you consult your heart, when you remote view, and I really enjoy the way that you talk about remote viewing, you talk about it as, going into your heart, right? Sometimes I think remote viewing can be perceived quite mentally by people, especially people who don't know it, haven't done it. But what do you understand from your heart, from what you've remote viewed about the history of the planet, the forces that came in? We don't have to get super specific, but like, what are the big lines? Alpha Draconis and all of that stuff, and the history of our planet.
Um, yeah, I see this as like a reincarnation, because we've lost Earth. for, I think this is the fourth incarnation.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost Earth through the horrendous energies. And so that's also experimenting. They've been experimenting with Earth and the people on Earth. And they realize we can't go too low because Earth will disappear. She'll just die. She can't take it anymore. And then if Earth dies, the whole universe dies, and then it's a start up again. So
Can,
I do see
can
this
you
as
can you go back to what you just said? If Earth dies, the whole universe dies. Is this about
yeah.
the fractal nature of our planet and us?
This is it's fascinating. So when I look at Earth, so when I go into Earth, so when I remote view, I go inside myself, and your heart, my heart, is connected to the planet, connects to all, you know. And when I'm in the inside the planet, inside myself, go inside the planet, it's like there's a Russian doll. The planet, this planet is it projects out the whole universe, this universe. So she's the mother of the universe. So if someone goes, can you go to this planet? I don't go outside there. I go within her, and I'll find the planet inside her. So there's like that two suns and everything. Yeah, there is a sun inside Earth, and she projects. It's fascinating, absolutely, just like us. Yeah, so it's like you're trying to sort out your problems in your physical reality. Actually, your problems are inside you. Yeah, and that's the same with the planet we're on. So everything is within, and so this planet is, and she's like the generator, you know, she's the big boom kind of thing that generates. So it's they've lost Earth through the abuse that has happened. She's given up, and then but reincarnated, like we've reincarnated, we've come back. Um, or you may be a being that hasn't been on Earth before. It's not, but yeah. So the reincarnation that's taking place, and obviously the DNA is still there, so it's just a continuation of okay. And then what I also see is like with the slicing and dicing of the DNA. So back in time, to get it's like it's sort of the same. They took the DNA, they took our DNA. I mean, they took beings from this planet, human beings, took them and took them into their world, and they took their DNA and then sliced it and diced it with technology to create the reptilian race. So traumatized DNA, because any DNA that hasn't got light is trauma. There's no, you know, so it's distorted. And then oh, I'm gone a bit lost.
When you say they, do you referring to the Watchers? What you call the Watchers?
Yeah, the giants. Yeah.
Okay. And where did they come from?
I don't know actually. I just know that it's like I see it's like another universe next
Mm,
door to us. So I see us. We live in a universe, but we live in a multi-universe, a bit like a honeycomb.
mm.
Yeah. So it's like this tiny little thing down this multi. You imagine a honeycomb, and you've got all these bit like a brain. It's very similar. So our brain, and it's got lots of compartmentalizations. Well, then it goes on to the universe is like, so there's different realities. So the reality next door is a parasitic reality. It parasites of our reality, and then it's like they broke through, and they place stuff in our reality that shouldn't be here. I think the boons here they placed in to basically change the frequencies, the mental frequencies, to change the frequencies so they slow time down. Because our mental side, the physical reality, the masculine consciousness creates physical reality, which also creates time. And they need to slow it down so they could be here more comfortably, to slow, because they needed the frequencies low. So they did that. No, I'm not technical, but it's something to do. I saw them bring the moon here, and that affected all the mind of the people on the planet. It
Yeah.
kind of Earth, the mind of the human race started to radiate at a different frequency from the heart. So we lost connection to our hearts.
Okay. Yeah.
So people come to me because we've got millions of connections between the heart and the mind, the left brain, right brain, and we've got to connect back up to ourselves. Yeah. But it's like the heart is like, I'm a being of light, and I'm never listened to, and I've got all this intelligence, and the mind's like, oh, I don't love myself, I'm not going there, I don't want to feel anger, I don't want to feel any emotion, kind of thing. And then I go in and go, okay, this is what's going on, right? So you've got that health issues because you've got anger at your mother or something. It could be. So I just able to, but the original, how it started, is that the mind of the human race was brought out of sync through frequencies that were brought to this planet. So the mind started tuning into another reality, tuning into a frequency that wasn't us. It wasn't from the heart. It was tuning into alien frequencies. So we started to decode an alien frequency rather than the heart of us. And that's what we're doing now. So like when you're like in tune with yourself and you're aligned with yourself and you're just like, life just flows through and life is easy. Yeah, you have those lovely days and it's just everything's flowing, synchronicities, and everything's great. And then when we're not in those days, because the mind is off, and it's like, if you look at reality, all they're trying to do is get your attention. Look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. Tune your mind, because your mental mind creates physical reality. So they utilize the masculine energy that we create because it radiates around us, and they want it outside of us. If it's the TV, to get us to believe the world is a certain way, so we then create it and see it that way.
Mm,
So if
absolutely.
we tune into us, we have to tune into our own hearts. And that's what happened back then, many lifetimes of Earth ago, we're trying to heal now today.
Right, right. An alien frequency. Yes, and it reminds me of the frequencies that I see in the clouds because that frequency warfare has been used on us forever and they're still using it,
Mm.
aren't they? I mean, the stuff you hear in your ear, and I mean, I don't know. I
Mm.
do. I hear like frequencies in my ears sometimes, almost all the time, actually. I see the ripples in the clouds. It's like something is being broadcast. There is actual mind control through frequency warfare, and it's been active for a very, very long time. Isn't that the
Mm.
case?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. There's the light of us can overturn it, but the light of us has to become empowered. So you become empowered, you're like, yes, I can heal. Then it brings the heart up and yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I can heal. I can heal my body. I can confront my trauma. I can, if the heart has room in the body where she can be felt and seen, then she will transform that DNA. She will
Mm,
and she's much, you think everything is created from consciousness. Yeah. So consciousness is the biggest, strongest, most powerful energy in the world. Technology is subservient to that. It's never stronger than that. But if you believe that you're disempowered, if you believe that you're little, that you're small, that you are not the creator, that somebody else above you is the creator, hence the mental mind, the masculine mind, then the masculine mind, the physical reality, is more dominant than the inner world of you.
yeah.
So we have to get the heart of people like, no, you are the most powerful. Your heart is the most powerful, but we've forgotten how powerful we are. And then that it's like getting that power up and up, the feminine empowered within us. That's man, woman, child. Well, just
Mm.
women, children probably already know. Kind of
Yeah,
just,
right. And that's what you teach people, right? I mean, that's what you teach
yeah,
people is how to get the heart back online. I hate even using that metaphor. It's just the first one that
yeah,
comes out.
yeah,
But like, yeah, like getting the heart to radiate again and feeling safe because what it does is so beyond the machine mind, linearity and flatness of the technological or synthetic side of things, right?
yeah, yeah. I think once fully the DNA is overturned in the human race and the fact that we've transformed it, and it starts, people just go bang, bang, bang into they're not, there's nothing in the DNA that goes against them, and their heart and their mind are working together, love and respect, and realize who they are, then these frequencies won't be there. Because the symbolic relationship between the heart and the mind will be so powerful that any frequency that doesn't help that dance, it won't be dancing with it. It will just, but it doesn't need anything else. We don't need anything outside of this frequency. Unfortunately, the beings that have been manipulating, abusing, and everything with the technology and everything, they need us. They they
Hmm.
they have a death that we don't have. Like when we leave our body, our light descends back into the soul, which is back with everything else. They don't have a soul. They've got nothing. They were designed in labs. They're not organic. So when they die, they were just created to take over the human race, to use us as batteries. So once everyone becomes empowered or starts at the that process which is happening, where do they go? They've got nowhere. They've got nowhere to go. They can't align with another species because they've aligned with our DNA, you see. So
Right.
literally they're on their survival. This is why you look at the elites and it's like, oh, they'll go and live forever, because
That's the transhumanist movement, right? Like
yes,
they want to let's everybody turn into cyborgs. That's their way of perpetuating their lives indefinitely and still taking advantage of our energy, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. And the reason they go that way because they're so scared. Because when the mental mind has disconnection from the heart, the mind goes in survival. It is literally dying. It's slowly dying. It's like got no light, so it goes into survival mode. Well, they've got no heart, so they're literally in survival. So the only option is well, parasite off others, technology, and then it's like I've got to live forever because they've got no home to go back to. There's no home, so they're we've got to live forever. Then how are we going to do that? And that's how that comes along. Yeah, there's no safety in them. There's no security. There's no where we can go into our hearts. I did a beautiful journey the other day on Find the Light. So someone was asking about when we die, do we see angels and all these sort of things? And I'm like, no, it's a hierarchy. You are everything. But anyway, I did this journey of descending back into where we come from. Claire, it was the most beautiful thing ever. It was just nurturing and love, and we get told to be frightened of death, yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Hmm.
gets projected onto us, and has been for a very long time. You're going to hell, all these sort of things, or heaven, depending on if you're good or bad, and that's a programming because obviously good and bad. Well, we're here to be silly, make mistakes, but a little kid is like, oh, I want to be good, and obviously you know, we get put in a bad box, so we get frightened, and then we get frightened of death, and but really, death is throughout life as well, because we're transforming all the time. So parts of us has to die, So if they get us to fearful death, that's fear transformation, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's because with the death, there's always life after through ourselves. More light comes in. So like with my healing and helping other people heal, there's a death of a certain frequency within them. And they have to surrender into their light for the light to come through. So get them frightened of death. Oh, God, then they're not going to transform. So death is always linked to life,
Well, and they're
transformation.
also projecting their own fear of
Mm-hmm.
annihilation onto us, aren't they? Because, I mean, if they have no souls, I can't help but feel for them. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, is there no hope for these beings? I mean, is there any way for them to redeem themselves or any path for them in that direction?
Mm-hmm. I have looked at this. The thing is, because they don't have a heart, they can't take responsibility for themselves because they've got
Mm,
nothing to take responsibility for. So the mind, when you're being responsible, it's when the mind is responsible for the heart and the heart is responsible for the mind. Well, they're just living on mind. So they're the reflection. So why we can reflect at our behavior, and we have to do that in here, we're reflecting all the time. And why this and that, and no, why did I react like this? They don't have that. They don't have it like that. They can't. They only see one way. The mind only see one way. Where the heart can see lots of things from many different perspectives. Can go around a situation that's happened and see it from many different angles. But the mind is very limited to seeing it. So they're kind of. It's not. I didn't say it's not impossible. I didn't say it's not impossible. But it is so slow and so hard that it's not like us where we can transform.
right. I mean, the physical heart is beating if you see something, you see what looks like a human being, but is actually inhabited by one of these psychopathic parasitical presences, the physical heart is beating and it must be generating a toroidal field if it's beating, but it's not. it's not in it, how does that work? I mean,
So what takes place is that the child will get traumatized, and then the consciousness, so like healing, it's from healing, you go back to that inner trauma where that the consciousness stops at 5 or 7 or something, 2 years old, and then you kind of allow that heart, the child to have a voice, how you feel about something at that time, and then more light comes in. Well, they get so traumatized that the heart just stops at like 4, 5, 7 years old, kind of thing, and then the reptilian comes involved. The reptilian takes over, so they've got the energy, a small amount of energy from the individual that's kind of trapped in the body, kind of thing, and then the reptilian. So the reptilian, it's not enough light for them. Obviously, it's not enough light, so they need to. So they hook on to people through their spine. So these beings take over the body, which is the human body, take it over, and then they attach to people. So you get the parasitic relationships, the dysfunctional relationships. So if you look at like Elon Musk, or you look at anyone, they will be attached to lots of people energetically, discipling their light away from them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the human soul is still in there somewhere, but kind of in the background, no longer able to function.
Yeah, this is one. It's like one, the human soul just completely disconnect. Do you know
Mm,
what I mean? Like just connect, and but yeah, it doesn't. I suppose it just stays there. It just stays. Um, so that's a question I've asked. I haven't done a journey, but it is a bit. Why would that happen? Why would allow that to
yeah.
take place? Consciousness to take place. Why would that take place? And it may be that the consciousness is like, I'm gonna get my mind back. I'm gonna get my body back. Because if I look at anybody, um, they're not fully in their body. It's part of the process of getting into the body. It's part of the, people are not, very rare that I see someone to be taken over by a reptilian, but they've been taken over by belief structures of them, or frequencies
Mhm.
that are not them. They'll have frequencies from their mom, their dad, their, ancestral frequencies that will come in. And part of the process is to actually hook up back to the body and like, no, this is mine, and I feel this. This is how I experience reality. This is who I am. So the mind starts decoding themselves rather than itself. So
Right.
yeah.
So, I mean, I guess what we should try to understand too is that, it's all on a scale, isn't it? I mean, there's beings who have been like completely taken over, for all intents and purposes. They are, possessed by these parasitical energies, but to some extent, we've all been invaded by it because we've internalized the structures and their way of thinking. And I always come back to that quote from Don Juan, from the books about Don Juan, where he's explaining the mind of the predator, and he says that they gave us their mind,
Mm,
and so we, to some extent, we're all having to heal from and disentangle ourselves from what isn't us, what is alien, what
mm,
is not human
mm,
originally, so that we can, fully inhabit our humanness again.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Listening to self, feeling who we are, allowing those emotions to come through, and yeah, it's really being the detective of self. And life shows you. Life will show you. Life will trigger you. Life will show you. Really, like you made that decision, and you've woken up to see yourself, to understand yourself. So
Mm,
it's uh, it's a natural. I mean, it's not natural that we've got DNA that's not fully human, or um, obviously the world is not how it's supposed to be, but it is natural for us to understand about ourselves and for allow reality to show us who we are, and what we like about ourselves, what we don't like about ourselves, the pain that we carry, and allow that to come out and not be frightened of our emotions, because it kind of get stored within the body, you know. It's like we, you know, and we're here not to just survive, we're here to live and enjoy life, you know.
And if we
Come
can
out.
come back from this, like if we can come back from this
Yeah,
level of
yeah,
distortion, not only, the DNA and the human, but the earth and everything that's been done to it, if all of that just fades away as the light grows, that what is more, demonstrative of the ultimate lesson and remembrance of wholeness and purity that can never be corrupted than coming back from the state that we've been in into a
yeah,
state of wholeness again.
yeah. It's like you know, a child being born into beauty and gorgeousness, and then it goes in the family, go into hell, and then they climb out of hell into that beauty. You definitely hang on to that beauty, appreciate that beauty far
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you see, Rebecca? I mean, I sense and I feel, and one of the reasons I love watching your videos and, being part of what you share is that you really bring through the light, and I really feel the truth through what you share that that all of this ugliness is a temporary something that we have to work through and see, recognize, name, and transcend by the truth of who we are. So what do you see and sense is coming this year? Like, what's in store for I mean, I'm not asking you to make any predictions. I'm asking for your felt sense.
Um,
What's coming?
um, well, it's all good. It feels that the planet becomes self empowered this year. She finishes her journey this year. So then I see people following suit. So people on the healing path finish their journey. So that means that all the healing within their consciousness, within their brain, is healed. So they're not manifesting difficult situations in order to heal the inner child. They go
Mm,
on to let's live. So they go from a state of survival, confusion, who am I, all these sort of things, to into living. Um, I see the systems. So we have systems, religious system, the banking system, all these systems, war, all these things going crazy and breaking down. But I don't feel. It feels that the light of us and the planet is helping with that process. We're waking people up very gently, like I would kind of like bang, like someone hit me in the face, and then it was just like tumble. But I just see lots of people waking up like gently. Oh yeah, I know that. That's yeah. It's far more gentle, and everyone coming on to the same page. That compartmentalization is breaking down within us, and also on a big scale. So everyone is going to be awake, and then it's like. Just a lot of lovely energies, just joyful living. But obviously, people have got their own. The earth, the atmosphere is changing because the planet is changing, and as the planet becomes empowered, I just see like a boom of light comes, and that cleanses everything. Just like the light in us, your heart, your light that comes through the body from the spine up, it cleanses the body. So the more light, your emotions are actually the detoxer of the body. It detoxes the body, and that's what I see the planet. So as this all this light comes through, more and more light comes through, it detoxifies the planet and the atmosphere, and they need certain frequencies to be in this atmosphere, and if and to also, so but that light sees. So when I look at reality, I had this amazing experience when I was in having my awakening, and it kind of done full circle. So I had my like late 20s, and I was in Asia, and I was on a bus, and I was in the midst of my awakening. Just my heart was booming through me, and I was seeing reality very differently. And I was going over a bridge, and there was just this mothership over Kuala Lumpur, huge mothership. And I didn't even know why I called it a mothership. That was just the name that came to me. It was a mothership, and it was stationed. It was ugly. It was horrible. And I was just like, oh my God, how can people not see this? And then everyone was asleep on the bus. And thank God, because I'd probably look like a crazy one going, there's a mothership. And people wouldn't be able to see it. I was just in a different state of consciousness where I could see it. Well, that's what I see all over the planet, all over these cities, all over the world, these motherships. And I see that the light is going to show up these motherships. This is like the other reality interfering with our reality. If it, when I was a child, I was in a room with Jimmy Savile. It's quite a horrific story, but he he was interacting with another reality. Beings were coming out of him to in it, and he raped me. He was doing this ritual over me, and these what are called the giants, the watchers, came through to watch this ritual taking place over me. And obviously, we don't see the alien reality because it's vibrating at a frequency that we don't see. But when the light comes in, we will be able to see it. And they won't be able to stay because they hide in the darkness. They hide, oh, we won't, So, like our light within our body is showing up all the light in our brain, is showing up all the beliefs, all the insecurities, the traumas, everything. And we're going into every single room and we're putting light to it. Well, that's the same, the planet. The light's coming in and we're going to see all the darkness. So all the Epstein stuff, all the royals around the world, all that, where people waking up, oh God, why do we even have a hierarchy? This is insane. The more you get connected to your heart, there's no hierarchy. There's no hierarchy in your heart. And our heart should represent reality. So I just see a lot more where that reality has to go because they can't stay. Yeah, because the light coming through also means the heart's become empowered. It's not frightened of the physical reality anymore. So we're not going to be fearful of what we're here to face. And with that, just seeing and being fearless as the heart shows what we're living, it will transform so that the yucky energies will be no more.
Right. So, just to clarify, when you say mothership, you were describing not a friendly presence because a lot of people associate that, oh, they're out there, the aliens, they're here to help us. And I mean,
No.
of course, there are there are friendly civilizations friendly to us, but what you're talking about is this sort of the imposition of this, like breathing down our neck metaphorically for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's basically the reptilian world in above us. Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah. So it's although we don't see it, it's there. It's there. It radiates down upon us. And they tell us to in religion look up to God in the sky.
Yeah.
Well, they radiate. They're there in the sky, so we're looking up to power towards them, and then down is hell, but within us is the light.
Right. We've just got to release that entire cosmology. It's like my experience is like one structure after another. They're just layered on top of each other, and yet, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. No, it's not. Actually, it's nothing that you were told. Nothing. Throw it all out.
Yeah, throw it away.
Start at the beginning, right here.
Yeah, it's really just unlearning everything. And the mind is designed to do that. The mind is there to learn from the heart. So it has to forget everything. But with the fear that we've had within the DNA, like frightened of who we are, it's like it's slowed down the learning. So it's like when I look at people or do a Q&A in a remote view, it's like I don't know anything. It's like the canvas is blank, and then see what I see. And I think that keeping that innocence and that curiosity also with self, and don't be frightened, which actually help you understand yourself on a much larger scale. Yeah. So the things that we tell ourselves who we are really, a lot of it's just being lies.
Yeah. So what would be a good way for someone who feels like, well, I don't know what to do to connect with myself. What's the simplest way?
Relax. Jenny, people's mental brains are vibrating at a different frequency from the heart. Mine's got a lot to do. It's like, okay, I've got to get this done. I've got to go work. I've got to look after the kids. I've got, It's got and also it's relaxing. It's relaxing. It's allowing yourself to relax and also feel your body. Like
Mm.
feel. Don't be scared of feeling. Like any emotion. We all feel a certain range of emotion, like a rainbow of emotions. But people cut off and go, right, I'm not going to feel that. And then what happens is the brain goes, oh, that's frequency I am feeling. I've got a barrier up against that frequency. So what it does, if you decided, right, I'm not going to feel grief, pain, anger, it doesn't just cut off that, it cuts off lots of lovely energies as well. So you kind of like to get the heart to communicate to the mind. One, the heart needs a safe place. Yeah. So berating yourself or pulling yourself down, or notice how you talk to yourself. And so becoming aware of yourself and how you treat yourself. I remember the process. I had, two kids, little ones, and everything went to them. I remember being in a charity shop and had very little money, and I wanted a DVD. It was 50p. It was 50 pence, and I kind of picked up and go, no, 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 no. And I walked out of the charity shop, and I was like, I didn't even spend 50p on myself. I mean, it's like it was like I was there. Like I was like the last of the last, you know what I mean? So what's they doing? The mind's like going, you're not worth it. Although you
Mm.
might experience that movie, you're actually not worth 50p. It's like people, we have been programmed to be in a slave society. So everybody else is far more important than oneself. And that's from slavery. And then people that stand on their mind that get catered to, and people that stand in their heart consciousness are the slaves. So it's like depending on where you are in your consciousness, where you stand, will depend on what you experience. So we have to get out of that with the mind actually like the biggest trauma I see in people is not being seen or being seen, being seen, being valued. So we have to see ourselves and value ourselves. I mean being seen is the heart. Obviously, we can't see the heart, but we can feel the heart, and that's being seen. So our emotions, allowing our emotions to come through. So that means maybe talking about the hard conversations we don't want to talk about. It may be, but relaxing first to allow the emotions to come through, because stress takes us out the frequency of the heart. So this is why the heart is such an amazing. We are so amazing. Like we cleanse the body, and this is why like you go on holiday and you get sick. Why do you go on holiday and you get sick? Because you start relaxing. So the brain, the mental side starts to relax. So it connects to the heart, the left side of the brain, and the light starts to follow through. And then it starts cleansing all the yucky stuff out of the brain, out of the body. And this is why we get sick, because we relax. It detoxifies ourselves, detox. Now you imagine that's what I had my awakening, is because I started relaxing. So I
Wow.
got sick, and then I kept relaxing more and more, and my heart started to have a voice. It was just relaxing. There's a lot of thing about spirituality and do this, do that, do that. It's simple. It's really simple. Like it's reality is going to show you through the people anyway. You're going to get triggered, and it's relaxing and taking note of who you are. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm just delighted because this is what I've been saying for years to myself, and to people that I work with is like relaxation first. It's the highest practice. And we think we have to have all these complicated practices and rituals and stuff like that. No, that is another convolution of the imposition that we've taken on. Like, oh, it's hard to reach God. I better start working on it, and I've got to do all these elaborate gymnastics to be accepted and all this. No, it's like relax, breathe into your heart, like just like relax, turn off your mind for a second and just like, blah, just like let it go. And we think that we have to do so much more to be worthy of it. That's just our programming, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I work with people and they get to points of like, oh, no, no, I'm not ready to go deeper within myself. And they get angry and stuff like that because they've got a program. You've got to work hard. You've got to be more than you are. You've got to be, and it's just like, you are who you are. yeah, accepting who you are. You know, you don't have to. Yeah, it's just from the slavery. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of yucky stuff in the spirit. Well, has been, but it's got us here. It's like it's been a bridge that we've had to. But yeah, you don't. Yeah, just relax. And there's lots of, you know, you heal and then you fall down again, and then you've got to go back and do another room that's in your brain that's dirty, and so it's back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, you
Mm.
know. And really, like, you are the key to understanding everything. Like, that is like the amazing thing. Like, you are the key to it all. Like, no one else, no one outside of you. You are the key, and that is you connecting to yourself, to your heart. You know, people come to me and they've, you know, they may have just come and they're like searching and they're trying to search for the truth and they're trying to, you know, and it's like, well, it's you. So they go from trying to understand the outer reality to understanding self. And it's like, oh, but they're gifted. They're gifted with calmness. They're gifted with, oh, everything's okay, even though, you know, the outside world looks like it's crazy. It's like the heart will calm you. It will ground the mind, you know, because what we've had is a problem where the mind is totally ungrounded. It's doing lots of 101 things. It won't stop thinking, won't stop doing. It's totally ungrounded. So connecting the heart will ground us down. And the more you ground, the more you understand yourself, more calmness, more everything's okay,
Yeah.
everything's fine. You know, it's like there's no pressure. Yeah, there's no pressure to be something or do something. There's like it, you start to get into acceptance of who you are, your experience, and get to know why you've experienced what you've experienced. Because what I see in people, what I've experienced myself, what's kept me locked is self blame, shame, um, and to get these horrible frequencies out, that you know, it's like to feel them and also to realize, well, I'm not to blame for the whole world. And the shame out, everything that's disempowered the heart of people. There's been a lot
Yeah.
of disempowerment, and because of that disempowerment, the mind is elevated into survival, to ego, to everything, and disconnected from the human us. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you feel like really compelled to share, the most important thing that you could transmit at this moment?
Mm. And for me, healing has been really hard, like the hardest thing I've been through to face myself. But also feeling what I want, freedom, honesty, truth, transparency, to allow to have my kids grow up in a world where they're safe. For me to feel safe and secure, it's you know, that's what I want, and that's what I want. You know, I want everyone to be. We all want that, don't we? We'd be insane if we didn't want that. So, and then I also see, like, in the Q&As and what we're going to experience, what life is going to be like. It's incredible. Like, where everyone having their heart open, and then the mind and the heart flowing. It's, you know, you will realize there's no death. There's just transformation. We'll be, you know, you'll be sitting there. I realize the beauty, everything is will be, once the mind is communicating fully with the heart, we'll be communicating with all life, the trees, the bugs, the clouds, the sun, everything is communication all around us, and everything is radiating these beautiful frequencies of Mother Earth, but we haven't picked them up because we haven't been connected to ourselves. So the hardness of looking at self is going to be so worthwhile. It's just going to be, oh my God, I would do it again, if because the beauty that I can taste it. Do you know what I mean? I
Yes.
can. It's like, and it just feels so close, like this, just the light and everything. Like, well, you know, you can actually, wow, and all the learnings I've had along the way. It's like it's been an incredible journey. So yeah, I'm not fearful. Um, I'm I'm looking forward to really seeing who we are in this reality, that being we reflecting out of what who we actually are. You know, don't worry about all the yucky stuff that's going on. It's going. Yeah.
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 Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Rebecca
Oh,
Barron. Everybody, all of Rebecca's links are in the show notes. You can join her community. You can take her courses, read her book. She has an amazing community. Her YouTube channel, her Instagram, everything that you do is contributing to the awakening. And I'm just so grateful for this time that you've spent with me here today.
mm,
And yeah, it's been a real honor and a pleasure and so uplifting. My heart is really singing now. Thank you. Thank you,
well,
Rebecca.
no, thank you for having me on. It's so lovely to be able to talk because it's like talking, and then I feel my heart. Same. It's so healing. It's so healing. Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
What an amazing human being Rebecca is. Um, you know, you don't have to decide what you believe about every cosmology, every structure, every unseen force, every point of perception and perspective on this reality, every interpretation of reality. You don't have to force any kind of certainty. Uh, but if there's one thread that's running through this conversation, it might be that trust is not something that we merely collect externally. It's something that we gradually become capable of recognizing within ourselves. In my own life, I found that the moments of greatest awakening did not begin by looking farther out away from myself. They began by becoming more honest with myself, showing myself I have this image of the moon right now. Like we only see one side of the moon, right? We never see that other side of the moon, but it's there. It's a whole other topic. But like when you show your own hidden face to yourself, right? When you face the most difficult things that there are to face, that's what Rebecca has done, right? We each have the capacity to do that. And what it reveals to us is it actually just gives us access to our power again. And it's easier to relax. It's we become more willing to feel, more willing to sit with what's uncomfortable. Um, we stop abandoning ourselves. We stop abandoning our heart, right? And our heart can come out again, right? It can be we can be heart forward again instead of shielding, protecting, or being disconnected from or numb to our heart. So if this conversation stirred up something in you, whether it was curiosity or resistance or excitement or discomfort or grief or recognition, just be willing to abide with that. No need to rush past anything. Um, Sometimes it's just, we have questions that start quietly working in us after a conversation like this ends. So thank you for joining me in the grace space. Once again, if you are valuing the material that you are encountering here, it really helps us if you can subscribe, if you can like, comment, share videos that matter to you with other people that you think would find value in them. It really makes a difference with how the platforms push the content out and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, most of all, thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being willing to entertain the content and yeah, for your presence and your openness. And come join me on Instagram if you do Instagram, or check out my website where we continue to explore health and sovereignty and remembrance and what it means to be fully human. That's going to become more and more important as we go forward. Until then, walk in grace. You've been listening to The Grace Space. To amplify this field, you're welcome to like, subscribe, or share. Thank you.